everybody. Thank you for joining me again on this part 2 or part 3 of my 135th scale Sherman 105 millimeter howitzer restoration. This is originally a Sherman kit offered by Dragon Models, and this is actually the actual Dragon model kit that was assembled and used for the photographs on the company artwork, boxwork on the kit. The kit you buy, the model, you see the pictures and stuff on the side of the box. This is her. Now, she's been pretty banged up for years. Probably was thrown in a box or wrapped in bubble wrap, put in some shoebox or on the top shelf of some hobby store or Dragon executive's office or downstairs in the warehouse. Ignored, broken, busted, all the photo etch track guards, we'll call them, mud guards, track guards, bent up, busted. She probably thought the next time she opened her eyes or saw sunlight, it was going to be as she was about to be thrown into the dumpster. So I managed to acquire her and a few other pieces, and we're not going to do that. We're going to restore her. Not rebuild, but rather restore. We're probably not going to do it as original as the boxwork, artwork, in that we're going to use a little bit, tiny bit more photo etch detail. I don't want to get too carried away. I got all sorts of photo etch and little brass details we can add and whatnots and stuff like that. Basically, what I want to do this is we're going to restore her pretty much to almost original condition as she came in. We're going to doll her up a little bit. We'll add a little bit of jewelry onto her, just a little bit, not to show off, because I felt that all those years being wrapped in bubble wrap downstairs in the Dragon basements back in China, all that indignity, all that uncertainty, we need to doll her up, make her feel a little bit good about herself. Stupid way to explain it, but that's just the way I like to model. Pretty much what I do here is I like to model. What I do now is I model the way, as I do this on camera, this is actually the way I'm modeling. And I only happen to have the camera on for you guys, and I talk out loud. You'll hear my ideas, my thought processes, my mistakes, and my cuss words and all that good stuff. So enough talk, let's have a little bit of fun here. So what I did do, and I was able to pull off, let me turn on another light here real quick, is as far as texturing the turret, we went ahead and did a good job with that. You'll see it in the shadow there. They appear like little bumps, unevenness. In other words, it's not a smooth surface. See that? She came off fantastically great. We got the metal barrel mounted on the way we were going to. Slight change in plans there, and I'll show that to you right now. And it does elevate and depress. And it ain't going to come off the way. I'll show you guys how I did that. We're going to add a little bit of photo etch detail to the turret. We've already added a few other pieces. We'll add the original Dragon guards that go outside of these window visors. Or, yeah. On our hull, you can see the clear lenses of the front drive lights. You can see how I painted the entire horn siren combo in primer gray, and the backs of the lights are no longer all clear. They were like glass bulbs or glass globes up front. So it just cleaned it up much better, got rid of that toy-like appearance. Excuse me. Also, what I like to do on the smooth side, on the last video I misspoke. I called it sheet metal. I meant to say it's actually not sheet metal. It's steel plate. It's armored steel plate in some cases. So it would be smooth, not like the turret, which is a sand casting. So I still like to go in there and add a little bit of texture. You can see it's shiny because I haven't really primered it. But there's a tiny bit of texture in there. I'll do like a little bit here, a little bit back here. Oh, it's there. And a little bit up front. There's a piece I haven't hit with primer yet. Just to break up that smoothness. I've seen a lot of model builders do that here on YouTube recently that I never probably paid attention to. My turret, in terms of texture, we pretty much kind of matched it as opposed to how it was originally. And that matches a real Sherman tank. That's the only thing different that we did to this girl, because originally she came with an absolutely smooth turret completely. And just quite didn't look right. Let's see here. Nothing really done on the... Oh, okay, let me show you this real quick. The photo etch set we're actually using this set and another spare set I have for Sherman tanks. I'm using a Edward. By the way, in Spanish, that would be Eduardo. But anyways, we're using bits and pieces from Edward. We're not going to doll her out completely in photo etch. Just a little bit of pieces on the turret. We'll probably do that right now on camera. And maybe a couple pieces here on the hull. And that's pretty much about it. That was its metal barrel and metal tracks. She's going to stand out a lot different. She's going to be a lot more prettier. She's going to feel better about herself. And I'll feel better about her being up on my shelf. And it'll be a restoration that I'm going to be very happy with. The results of that. We're going to have a little bit of fun right now. We'll get to the gluing right now in a little bit. Let me move the tripod, guys, so I can sit down. All right, as you saw in that original opening clip, pretty cool, huh? The sirens and the air raid sirens, and on the short I did, or I'm gonna do, or you guys are gonna see either a little before or after this is shot. Same thing. I use the same sound effect, only that for some reason I was having problems. I shot the video, I edited it, I deleted it, I shot over and over and over again. It took me a little over an hour just to film that little spot. I was having problems with the tracks, but that was something not related to the tracks at all, but rather the brass wire I was using to pull the tracks through. As you guys saw on the actual thingamajig there. Now, where is my puller? I have no idea. Here it is. Here's another one, I should say. So let's cover that a little bit better, just because it looks cool, and maybe that's what sold you guys to watch my video today. But anyways, just like the reason I love real metal tracks is they're heavy. They function just like a real metal track. They keep the center of gravity low where they should be, but they make the overall model heavy again, which is another feature I like. But because they are very realistic, they actually act just like the real tracks. And you can install them just like the real tracks. So in this case, we're going to feed it through a little bit here. Remember I said we're going to keep the front, well, that wouldn't be an idler. The front drive, we're going to keep, sprocket, we keep that loose for when we drive the tracks through. Today we're going to see why we chose to do that. Do that over again right here. Okay. So just like our real tanks, you drive that sucker right through there. You're gonna get caught up in all sorts of funky stuff. So when you meet resistance or you feel you got stuck on something, don't just pull it all the way through with anger. There's something there you got to address, because all this is plastic and you just break or snap off whatever was getting hung up on. Also, this is white metal castings, very, very easy to bend. You can actually bend them very easily with your fingers. So one of those two things or both will happen. And you see that front sprocket spinning there. And The same in reverse if you choose to install them in reverse. So it's just a fun little thing of using metal tracks, a little feature that sold me to get into 135th plastic model building, and just adding all the metal pieces as I see fit to suit my taste, either for cosmetic sakes, construction sake, or just to suit my mood. It's just you should be in the hobby for the same reason, just for the enjoyment, not because you're in a race to finish it, but rather the pleasure of just coming in here, doing tiny bits, going on about the rest of your day, or we're going to work, or we're going to sleep. It's late at night here, and that's very common here in my house. We either work late into the night. So we'll run it through just like you saw right there. I'm going to show you the entire process. It's a piece of cake. Now, if you recall pictures of German armor and the tracks are all sagging and, you know, loosey-goosey all over the place, that type of track tension is referred to as dead track. It's not part of the suspension. It's just something to keep the track moving along. I'm assuming that's why. On American tanks, to this day, they have what's called a live track. So the track is on there tight as can be. There's no that crazy slide. Just a tiny bit, but not crazy sag. And all right, so what I do is I'll get a needle. I already drilled out all the little holes and stuff. So we're going to insert it. I may be blocking the camera. Sorry about that. We're going to insert it through those last two links that haven't been connected, just while we're building and restoring the model so the tracks don't come apart. There's the other one I did last week for the other side of tracks, and there's the one for today. When we're all done, I'm going to go back with the correct pin to go in there, pull this one out, put the correct pin in, and secure it on both sides, and you'll have excellent representation of a tracked Sherman tank vehicle. Let's put the hull and the turret on so you can kind of get the overall look to how she's going to look. Let me get rid of this tape. Oh man, tape makes it look silly, and knocked off my exhaust shroud as I pulled off the tape. But I don't know if you guys can see this or not. That is my solution to mounting the turret. We'll take it apart right now. You guys can see how it looks. Basically, it mimics the same exact function as the styrene provided one from Dragon. In this case, I went ahead and replaced many of those styrene parts with brass. This is a 256 screw. I drilled out the back of the gun, tapped it so the screw would fit, and this round tube here, I drilled through it, so it's gonna, as I tighten that screw, it tightens everything together so it won't come apart. It's held in place and still operates up and down. I also used that texture on the mantlet, and it came out great. So there you go. As you can tell, I'm just having way too much fun with this guy. And I know you guys, when you guys build your stuff, you guys also enjoy the living daylights out of it. Now I'm going to try and keep all these tapes kind of short. I think we're coming up on the 15-minute, 16-minute mark. Maybe we won't have time to glue all the little bits and pieces I wanted to do on camera. But since I got you guys here, let's show the girl off a little bit more. Incidentally, the tools, the Pioneer kits, as they're referred to sometimes, that go on the rear deck of the Sherman there. I got the tools here on the side. We're not just going to glue those guys back on. On those particular pieces, what we are going to do is we are going to fit, or we are going to use the photo etch tool clamps to mount the tools onto the hole there with photo etch clamps. It just gives it a much more detailed, more cleaner look, more realistic look. I'm not going to use a grill, photo etch grill on that. That's, look at that turret with the texture on the side. It just came out perfect. We haven't done anything to the hull as far as primering and texturing and all that yet. It's still raw. We did go ahead and easiest thing you could do is drill out those little drain holes on that little that's still a protection shield for the, I'm assuming that's gas or oil or water. No, I think the water is going to be right here, and the fuel tanks are in here, so that's going to be a fuel cap. And you drill out that hole there, along with the one on the other side. So definitely she's taking on a totally different look. Love that turret with that metal gun. This will be done here pretty soon. What's probably going to take a little bit long is going to be those brass track guards, those long photo etch pieces. Incidentally, I didn't write those numbers on the bottom of the hole there. That's the way they came from Dragon. Whatever they mean, I don't have a clue. I just knocked off that exhaust shroud, but that's fine. It lets you see a little bit more detail underneath. Like I said, the tank, oops, definitely has some weight to it. And actually feels real good. Feels real good in my hand. Nice hefty feel. I'm super, super happy the way she came out, the way she's going to come out, and when she'll be her final, how she look when and in her finale. And just for comparison, this is another rescue I had. Maybe I'll talk about this way down the road. This actually was once upon a time a Tamiya Panther tank. I think it's a G model, if I recall correctly. Correct me if I'm wrong. It was beat up. It was horribly painted. Plastic everything. So we added metal tracks and a bunch of other cool parts. And it doesn't look like it to me anymore, but I loved working on that. One of the first armored rescue vehicles kits I purchased. So real quick before we start to wind this video down, for those of you who are curious how I went ahead and did the metal barrel, everyone has their different style. I'm sure the manufacturers come with their own recommendations how to do this. I kind of like to explore and do my own thing. I overly build pretty much anything and everything I can out of metal. So let me just take it apart so you guys can see the pieces, how I use them and how they came together. There's a screw right there. We'll take that apart. Wasn't planning on doing this, but I don't know why I didn't think about that. So to my friends that are watching from my truck building channel, they're probably gonna see, oh yeah, that's what he does, and they'll see a theme to my madness. Let's get it away from that booger there. So pretty much that's what we do, is we glue the metal barrel at the correct position inside the manlet. Glue that sucker into place like that. And in this case, I put a couple drops of crazy glue or CA, because I may go back and do a little bit more readjustment down the road. I can always take apart my barrel and put it back in many times throughout its lifetime, based on this little design of using the... I drilled a hole in there. I threaded it for 256. Let me see if I can get some lights on this, guys. I threaded the inside with a 256 tap. I went ahead and got the tube that would fit in the mountings that are already provided by Dragon for the styrene piece I used. See that? And this piece will drop right in those two sections. We drilled a bigger hole on the outside of this, so our 256 screw, which is... I'm looking through the viewfinder right now and I'm having a hard time. We'll just drop right through there. Don't lose that little screw. And the screw screws into the hole that I've already tapped to accept the 256 screw. And they do sell miniature taps at good hobby stores. Another good place to go find them is your good hardware stores like Ace, True Value, that type of thing, or your mom and pop hardware store. There you go. That's all it takes. It's loose right now, but when you put it on the model, you tighten it. And that's how I mounted. That's how I mount my main gun to the turret. Only I do through the inside, but this is just so you guys could take a look and see exactly what my nutty brain came up with. Okay, I'm going to attach some photo etch tonight and some other little pieces. No sense filming it. We all know how to do that, and I'll show you guys the end results here in a couple days. I'm having a lot of fun with this. I need to hit a timeout button here, because let's see, you guys, timeout button, because I'm falling a little bit behind on my big rig project, the Freightliner dump truck kit. But I got sick this weekend. I remember coming home Friday night, and I don't remember anything other than this morning driving to work in the rain. Monday morning, Saturday and Sunday, man, I had a huge migraine and everything associated with a huge 2-day migraine. But I did fall behind on my little projects here, but that's all right. Thank you for joining me. If you guys have any questions, any comments, any critiques, criticism, advice, tips, please feel free to share with all of us down below. If you like what you see here today, feel free to hit the subscribe button or the like button or both. Come on back. We're always doing fun little things like that and coming up with weird little gizmos like this. I learn from you guys. I learn from your guys' YouTube channels. And hopefully I can pass along a couple tips to you guys here on my channel. The Florentino Rebuilding Company, in business since 1987 or 88. You guys take care.